Mm. All right, BlakBoxxRadio. First, guys, I'm going to apologize. The flyer said 8. Y'all know we do this at 7. Back in the box is at 8. But today is the KingHim series. So we do this at 7. So listen, if you're here, thank you. If you're not here, we're going to see you about 8 o'clock. So whatever. And it's always a playback. Please go to YouTube. Hit us up at BlakBoxxRadio and it'll be up there for sure. But this is the KingHim series. I am Queen. I am in the box. I am just so happy. I'm in Baltimore, guys. I'm in BMore. It always feels good. Let me tell you about the weather. I got the fireplace on and the window open. That's what we're doing out here. We got the breeze and the fire. All above. That's what Baltimore do. That's what it's doing in May, and it's just a beautiful day. It's gray, but it's a day, and we 10 toes down. We're gonna do it. That's just how it is. So, guys, I want to say welcome to the KingHim series. This is where we platform our kings, our men, especially black men. You see that black man over there? We got a lot to talk to that brother about. We got a lot to talk about. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Queen. I'm a host of BlakBoxxRadio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose Black genius. But more than anything, we humanize the Black experience. And it comes authentically from Black people. And that's what's so important. We do this about 3-4 times a month. Please check us out at BlakBoxxRadio.com, but also on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and listen to our many iterations of what Black is and being Black and living Black and eating Black. So that's what we do. We do this probably every Wednesday. More than likely, we're on every Wednesday. So tonight, I wanted to be able to talk to the males. It's me as a female, we love our men, and Black men don't get this space. So the KingHim series is just that. And so I've been running after this man. Y'all don't even know it. Every time I see him in community, I'm like, where you come to see me, bro? I see him everywhere. He is a community stalwart. He's doing so many things in the community. He's a father. He's a mediator. The man, Changa Onyango. Say hi to the people.
Hi, people. I'm obedient. I told you I'm obedient.
You almost made me choke. Hi, people. That's all I get, bro. That's it. So we're so happy to have you. We're really happy to have you. I've been trying to get you on because I wanted the folks to see what I see. So when I see you out in the community, you're always involved, doing something, music. I didn't know about your corporate side. So we're going to dig into that a little bit too. So that's what's up. And, we was talking before we got on and we was talking about some good stuff. But first I want you to tell us, like, who is Changa? Where's he from? If you're from Baltimore, kind of rap who you are. Let's talk about you first and then we're going to jump in.
Sure. I am Brotha Changa Onyango. I'm from Baltimore, from West BMore. That's all one word, just in case you didn't know.
I love it.
Born and raised.
Okay.
My father's Ahmad Onyango. My mother, Ibai Tanu, God rest her soul. Her name was Linda McDaniels. And my grandparents were Valerie Saunders, who was a DC girl, and Emmett Saunders, who came up from South Carolina, and who was one of the early members of the Elks, which was the fraternity, the Black social fraternity that was originally meeting in the right here, Penn North, our Arch Social Club, at the Arch Social Club.
Yeah, the oldest social club in the U.S. Black owned.
Yeah, that was his hangout spot, and he was the first Black man in Baltimore to own the dry cleaning process. Had the big machines that did the dry clean. He had 2 outlets, one up on Smallwood Street, Emerson Village, EA, and then one down on Dolphin Avenue, where they lived. And he was the neighborhood tailor. She was the seamstress. He was the, the businessman. And so that's my paternal grandparents, who are the form my Baltimore base. And then my other grandparents were Chicago folk.
Got it.
Yeah, Marion James, who was a teacher, and she was in the hood, in the projects, doing Head Start programs like my whole life. And my grandfather was a hustler, Herman Huff. And so yeah, that's history. Yeah, that's a little bit of my genetics.
I love that. What high, here y'all rep your high schools, bro. So you got to come on.
Oh yeah, so
you know how y'all go.
So I'm gonna start in middle school, because I was middle school. I was at Garrison, got kicked out. had to go to private school for a year. Thank God my mother was in respiratory therapy, so she was able to struggle and get me in a black private school called Mount Zion, right down Liberty and Rogers, in a little church called Mount Zion. And thank God for those people, because they allowed me to kind of not get left behind from getting kicked out of school, and make up my grade. And then I went to Woodlawn, because my mother, like so many black families, headed west to the county, to get away from the element, so to speak, But in the late 80s, when I was at Woodlawn, it was very much a transitional school, very much a transitional school. But she was doing her best, and I wound up graduating from there in '89. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're Woodlawn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Warriors.
The Warriors. Okay. So listen, I like that background. We kind of know where you come, because a lot of times when we talk about our grandparents and we talk about the whole lineage, we know what the things that's in us, like why you hustle so hard, or why you do. It's in your lineage.
Yeah. It's never you.
It's never you.
It's never you.
It's never you. It's never you. And then when people don't know, they're always asking. That's why people say, "Well, why you want to know where your dad is?" Because you want to know who you are.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. So that's real important. So I love that you gave us that. So let's talk a little bit about what you do per se in community, because I always see you with the music boxes, bro. I always see you around the music. I always see you with the drum. Tell us a little bit of what you're doing in community. You're so busy. What you doing?
Right. So since I was 5, my father met my mother inside of the subculture of Pan-Africanism. So they were involved in cultural arts when I was young, and which was also kind of an offshoot. It was kind of the safer way to be black than like Black Panther, Paul Coates and them was like really on the political side, And so my father and his cohorts were more in the arts and in the art scene. And so African Dance and Drum had just entered into the building, into the group chat. And so they were the people taking that in Baltimore and creating it and making it something that was real and palpable, along with people like Olufunmilayo and Mama Delphine, these people who wound up taking that idea of African drum and cultural arts in general, because it wasn't only drum and dance. It's also like the costume making and the storytelling. It's like just like hip hop is built on the 5 elements. When you look at every art form, it has many different elements that actually make it up. So yeah, they were doing that in the 70s. So I was 5, and so that's how I came in, and I still try to devote a good portion of my time and energy to push out into community through that lens. So I still do drum in schools and in community. I think I always will.
They beat the drums into you, bro. They beat it into your DNA.
Yeah, for real.
It's
sure.
there.
For sure.
Wow. In the 70s. Because a lot, I grew up part of my life in New York, but most of it in South Carolina. And it's the population is kind of flipped. It's more of a Eurocentric with population. It's more more white. And so I never was exposed to the djembe and
Yeah.
the African dance. When I first heard it, it's like the drums call you.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
It's like a cultural imprint that we know it, we feel it.
It's already in there.
Yes, it's in our DNA, it pulls us.
Yeah.
And so going to the classes and hearing it and see the ladies that go through the line,
Yep.
it was something that I felt was a part of me and I've always loved it. So
Yeah.
when I see, and it stops us, we all love it. So it's not something like, oh, that's just going on in the corner. No, they come through dancing with the drum, you stop it.
You're gonna stop.
You're gonna stop because it's that powerful. And
Yeah.
you know, anything from us, it seems that it just irrigates into such power.
Yeah. It's just that it's in the DNA of the human beings, right?
Right.
It's in all the human beings. Because not only black people stop, everybody stops.
Everybody stops.
I could bring that drum out on the sidewalk, and sit down by myself, and people are going to stop. And it doesn't matter where I am. So because it just calls to people, it's a very strong piece of our heritage. It's one of the first pieces of technology that we did create and use is that drum, to recreate different sounds that mimic nature and that send messages. So yeah, it's of course it's for everybody.
And you're right, that rhythm is in all of our DNA. So when you hear it, it's just like when these bands are in the middle of the street with the drum. You see the girls dancing, but it's the drum.
All right. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's that snare, it's that three joint. It's the drums. It's something about it,
That's correct.
I go to New Orleans, they dancing through, but it's that drum, baby.
Yeah, that second line.
It's that drum, baby. So that's been in you from the beginning. And
that's in me from the beginning. And then after that, carpentry. I'm a carpenter. Most people don't know this about me, but I'm a carpenter. It's kind of my bread and butter. Although that's changing. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, for a long time it's been my bread and butter. And it's the way that I have been able to just be everywhere.
Yeah, creating though. It's still creativity,
Correct.
Carpentry, it's angles, it's lines, it's measurements,
right.
It's all creativity.
That's
so
right.
it kind of lends into who you are.
Yeah, I'm a builder. I'm a builder, period.
You're a builder.
But, yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah. And you see how when things are in you, you even pick that space for like what you do.
That's right. It's because it's not you. Again, it's not you.
It's not you.
It's not you. Even the trash parts, it's not you.
It's not you. It's amazing. But when you have and you kind of pull the layers back on yourself, you know that all of this is predestined.
Correct.
This is you where you're supposed to be. And if you're not, you're going to fail till you get there. I promise you.
I promise you. I promise you.
You're going to fail till wow. That's right. Amazing. So, but you went farther than music. You've gone into rapping, producing. I've seen you in a band. So
sure.
Give me all of it. So any part of music you're in it.
So yeah, I early on in the 90s, I started rapping. I was 14. Okay. I've been in and out of little contests and whatnot. The little neighborhood contests, West Baltimore, right? That's one of the reasons one of the reasons I got kicked out of Garrison. Like this guy's going off somewhere rapping with guys instead of going to school. So in the laundry room because we beat on the wash machines. Anyway, man, not many people would know about that piece. But yeah, I got into rap music. But I learned trap drumming when I was in high school. I started in high school really playing trap set, and then I went on and a lot of rock bands in the 90s, that were local that toured around. I was their drummer. I played. And then we also had Launchpad Records. My brother Rock, may God rest his soul and be pleased with his work. He and I came up with this idea to start our own record company, and so we started something called Launchpad Records, which wound up, when we finally got it incorporated and everything, wound up being Launchpad Entertainment. along with our other good friend Mont Richard. So we got into hip hop. We were the only hip hop studio that was dedicated to rap, and all of the locals came through. You know, Scar back in the day when he was young, and T Rux, now known as Ray Nathan, and um, Omar Akbar, we all know as Lab Tech, and all of these guys, you know, came through those studios.
Oh wow.
And Launchpad was kind of a home or a headquarters for a certain portion of the MCs that kind of fueled that 90s rap scene in Baltimore. And we were
It's
the
the inner
ones.
city, y'all. It's the inner city.
Oh
Gone.
yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It wouldn't be right if we didn't have a little noise, a little street noise. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, that
Where was Launchpad? Where was that at?
the very first studio was at Rock's house in the basement in Emerson Village.
Of course. That's how we
Of
always start.
course, right. And then we moved. We had a couple different places, but one of the most memorable, the most professional studio, the early one was on Park Avenue, that's right around the corner from Saratoga and Park. We had a second floor studio. We spent hours and hours getting that studio right, and you know, it was the first studio in Baltimore dedicated to hip hop. You know, 16 tracks, a real sound booth. We had sand in the walls to make it dead. We went all the way out.
Wow.
Yeah. So for those people who really followed the hip hop side of Baltimore history, they would know Launchpad. They would know some of the exploits and you know, ups and downs of that entity. But I feel very blessed to have been a part of that, a part of something that was really momentous for a certain group of guys. You know, as you know, in Baltimore, club music won out, won the battle hands down.
Always wins the battle. But one thing I know about music, it is a connector.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what gets, so these relationships that you have, you almost have for life, and it usually starts with music. And that's a beautiful thing, and it keeps you positive. When you're running after music, you ain't got time to fight and shoot and kill. You busy.
That's right. Unless that's what you're doing to pay the bills.
There's an inverse to that.
Yeah, it was a fair share of that happening.
Yeah, it's a fair share to have. That's something. So I didn't know you were doing the studio thing. So you was really into hip hop. What was your rapper name, bro? What was it? Come on.
I had, as most rappers do, I had a couple of evolutions, you know, with the names, and but what most people know me as, the Liberator, and yeah. So even back then, like you know, I was Ice Cube, I was Farrakhan, I was Chuck D, like, you know, that was kind of my mentors, you know, Rakim, Ice-T, you know, that's where I was going. It was like, yeah, it was a KRS, you know, there was a sufficient amount of violence, but it was for cause always. It wasn't just random, you know. I was never Ghetto Boys, you know what I mean? I was never, you know.
Yeah. So you had Japan, but it all. But you're telling your story because your parents started you where they were Pan-Africanists,
of course.
And so you were introduced to the djembe and all of the drums and the whole culture of it. So you took that to the current music genre, and you still was you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. We telling the story. Okay.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. So I love that. So you had a music side. I hear your community side. It's a lot going on. Now we're gonna talk about daddy side. You got 6 kids, bro.
Yeah.
You busy, bro. You was busy. Yeah. They grown.
Yeah,
they still in the hood. Anybody still in the house? Where they at?
Well, you know, in 1997,
okay,
a young lady who I knew, who I had known in high school since 1985.
Oh wow.
Gave me the honor of being a father, and I took it very seriously because my own relationship with my father wasn't what I dreamed and fantasized that it would be, you know.
Got it.
And so for me, when I was 10 years old, I remember saying, you know, I remember being in so many wild predicaments that I didn't think a 10-year-old should be in by themselves. You know, I was like,
oh wow.
I know I'm gonna be a dad. Like I'm gonna do things. You know, you say that you when you're young and things are going wild, you say that. And I always been a person to follow through on the things that I'm, you know, that I'm really serious about. And so yeah, when she agreed to make me a father, I was like, oh yeah, we doing the family thing. Like we going because I was really getting off track, to be honest.
You needed that might have grounded you. That might have been the ground you needed. Oh my
100%. I was getting off track, to be completely honest. So for the next 10 years, she was either pregnant or nursing.
So you kept doing that because it kept you grounded. I love it. So you have 6 girls, boys.
I have one girl that came with the marriage, and then we had 5 sons.
Beautiful.
So yeah, including a set of twins, Rakim and Kosi, who were born at home. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you have to work hard because you got 5 boys, bro. I know they ate you out of.
Listen.
Your refrigerator got wheels on it, bro.
Listen.
I know that was busy. So they all grown now. Is that?
Yeah, the youngest ones are the twins are students at Bowie, and they're in their 2nd year.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, they're 20 this summer, and we're excited. You know, we're excited, but it's also a challenge because it's transition time, right?
Yeah.
I'm 52 now. You know, so when we hit 50, it was my oldest son was having his daughter. So she was like very young. So we had our first grand.
You had a grand and 50. Okay.
Yeah. Our youngest children were 18, right? So they were going through that, coming out of high school and deciding what they're going to do. And we have been we hit our 25-year wedding anniversary. So which is a
that's a task. We might need to talk about that too.
Listen,
that's a task.
That's a whole episode.
That's good.
I promise you, it's a whole episode. It's like we could just go year by year. Like, so yeah, this transition, and I still feel like we're in the middle of it. Like you know, one thing when you're young, there's a big difference between 14 years old and 16 years old, right? The transitions are they're quick and they're far, you know, but as you get a little older, the transitions are a lot slower, but they have a much huger impact. And so, so we are in a position right now where we're in the middle of a transition, you know, a pretty major transition. And some real questions are being asked, like, okay, so who are you now? You know, who are you without these fundamental pieces demanding your energy? You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So
you got skates on. You in transition in a lot of ways.
Listen.
You have youngsters, you got young adults, you got new parents, new grandparents. So there's a lot going on.
Listen.
The good thing about that is that if we don't have that type of family, that type of movement, what is life?
Yeah, what is it?
What is life? This is all life. So wow.
Yeah.
So that one girl, she had to deal with all them boys. Jeez.
Oh yeah, she still don't have no kids. She like, no, I'm good.
I'm not doing it. Get them away from me.
She's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Anytime.
She went through it. I know that girl went through it. 5 younger than her. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
5 little brothers.
And she still don't have no kids. I love it.
Right. She like, no, I'm good. She's like,
I love that. So now we went through the whole gamut. So we're gonna get to what you do when it comes to mediating, because DEI is important. We see that that's being attacked corporately.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it?
They're trying to move it out of, it's DEI is not important. We act as if there's no racism in society. There's no baked in discrimination. None of that's going on. We don't want to talk about critical race theory. That's something that we've never taught in schools, but now it's something that we got to fight about. That is something taught in law school. So all of these things are in society. It's not actually community, it's society.
Right.
And a lot of the things are being pulled back. You see colleges are getting rid of their DEI initiatives. Corporate culture is. So when it comes to being a mediator in that realm, what do you see the future actually moving towards? Because technology moves things, and we see that there's a attack. So what do you see?
In terms of DEI, I think DEI was a construct of the mainstream. Believe it or not, DEI was a construct of the mainstream, and the mainstream was trying to put borders around the black problem, right? Or the race problem. But really, the race problem is not really the problem. The problem is just general fairness, right? And so you got to understand, corporate America means it thrives off of the idea of somebody's going to get everything and somebody else is going to get nothing.
That's the setup.
That is the setup. So if you can manage to put a box around fairness, and you can call it DEI, right? And you can throw everybody in there, throw the Rainbow Coalition in there, throw the blacks in there, throw everybody in there, and keep them in this box and put a little price tag on it, right? Wow. Then you can keep doing business as usual with this little caveat over here.
That's a way to look at it.
Ooh. So I just think that's it. When you ask it in the big picture, in a big question, like, so what's happening? What do I see coming?
Yes.
Life finds a way. Like, young people of all ilk are just not having it, right? This idea with if you think DEI is separate from the fact that an average college graduate has no chance of buying a house in their lifetime, you think those things are separate, you're 100% wrong.
I just said today, Changa, in 15 years, there will be no land for people to buy.
That's right.
They're making eternal renters. You better buy something.
Yeah. We've heard people, those of us who've done the rabbit hole research, right? We've heard people, titans of industry, captains of industry, say in the 60s on video, or in their lecture, we think that every ounce, every square inch of the world should be privately owned and held. This is what they said straight out, and that's what we're heading to. And it wouldn't be something good to say now, so they won't say it out loud. However, it's
the
what
actions are showing. It's being
what
shown.
they teach, yes, and the actions are going right. And the benefit from a capitalist standpoint would be that it would all be private property, so it would all be cared for. You wouldn't have to maintain it. You wouldn't need the Forest Service. You wouldn't need the Rangers. You wouldn't need, all of these people, because these private individuals, and the benefit to it is like downsizing government, right? However, of course, capitalism is going to say that, because the purpose of government in a capitalist system is to keep the capitalists in a box, from running over the rest of us.
Absolutely.
So it's just, it's interesting, when you ask it from the wide angle like that. Yeah, I think life finds a way. We go around every trick that is set up to keep us in a box. Yeah, I think DEI might die, in terms of
it might be IED. It's gonna be
it'll turn to something else, right? Because people are going to fight. Yeah, people are going to fight for fairness, and people are talking about the Great Reset, and they're it's such a European idea to try and name something and put it in boundaries and argue about it back and forth, while actual reality is actually going on. Like, life is still actually happening.
Yeah, that's exactly. Because I think what happens and how these things proliferate, it all starts in you being chaotic, and you having some divisiveness going on. So
Right.
we're fussing about DEI. We're fussing about, okay,
Correct.
this one gets more. So an Asian person is suing because a Black person got this, and this one's
That's
suing
right.
because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we never actually deal with the big C, the problem,
Correct.
the corruptor.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? So I think
Because
that
it takes a lifetime, right? And as long as we keep it on individuals, right? We try to put names in front.
sure.
As soon as we take it down to the level of the individual, what we've done is we've encapsulated it into put boundaries around it. Again, putting it in a box, because as soon as that person does something wrong, says something wrong, or dies, right? Then that movement is gone. You know, it's just it's a strategy. It's a great strategy. You know, speaking from you know,
It
from a
never
place.
has longevity.
Right.
You know, as we see all of these things that we set up that actually, or if we set it, if it does have longevity, then they have a piece of it. You know, like when we see things actually, like affirmative action, like actually happen, then we see who actually benefits.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
yeah. So, and that's why
Correct.
lasting on that is so sick of it. They're like, listen, we got to go after it. But usually these things are, every 10 or 15, they come up with something new, because we live in a society that has problems with oppression, all of them, discrimination, all of it. And we have to address it. So, and you're right. These young people are not having it. That's what I love about them.
Yeah, yeah. Young people not having it. But
I
at the
love the
same time,
protests. What do you think about the protests for Palestine? I love it.
oh yeah, I mean, do something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, do something. Do something, you know. And demonstrate your willingness to stand up against tyranny, right? However, I saw a really compelling piece on Instagram or something today. It was showing like the Met Gala and these young girls who are the current darlings of the world, Zendaya and whoever else, I don't know, the other little girls, but these fabulous dresses worth, $1 million, and some portion of $1 million on a dress and something. And then it just juxtaposes the little girls that's yelling on Instagram from Gaza. It's like same age, it's like, how are these two things happening on the same planet, and they're just in completely different worlds,
and at the same time, it's really scary.
At the same exact time. And the truth is, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for intentional transplant, there may have never been horses in North America at all, period.
Did you say the horses?
You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody had to bring those. Somebody has to do something from another part of the world and bring it over to this part of the world, and it be intentional,
You went to the stallions. Oh, not the German roach. You went to the horses. You're right, though. Somebody brought it, right?
All of the, like, that English ivy that came from somewhere, be dragged all up down the buildings. It came from somewhere. Somebody brought that. Baltimore is covered in that weed, the climbing weed, kudzu. That came from England. Like,
indigenous for here. You're right.
Right. And so the point of just bringing that up, it was not out of left field. It's just like, until we make an intentional transfer, some things just won't go around and won't be shared with the world, and the wealth is really one of those. Is one of those things. Until we do something intentional, it's going to be, because you can leave it for it to happen naturally, but that's the ugly way. Like, I promise you, like, the whole world had to freeze over for the horses to run across over to the, you know what I'm saying? Something wild got to happen.
It won't be intentional. Especially the folks who have it, they understand the abilities that it gives them, and they don't want everyone to have those type of resources.
Yeah. And so the options are, and again, you're either going to do it intentionally, right? Or something wild's going to happen for that to be distributed, and we've seen it over and over in human history. Like, we turned Rome into the Catholic Church. Like, they had to flip their whole game to, they can't be a country anymore. Okay, but we're just going to shrink down into this little place, Vatican, and then we're going to send our emissaries on a low all around the planet to control and infiltrate and develop power that way. So it's still a Roman Empire, but it's just they call themselves a church now. It's a genius piece of transmography for real.
I love that. And not only that, the type of real estate that this church has been able to
Let's
come,
be
the best
clear.
real estate in the world. Imagine every Roman Catholic church is in the best spot. They're better than McDonald's. Real talk.
I promise you that. So
I mean, you got to look at, not only are they dominating, they have some wealth transfer because they have land.
Of course.
And let's not be clear. So it's a very intentional movement. And we get so shrouded in religion and Christianity and what we're going to do later. But we see these people in real time are actually savagery. They're going after it. And they're using worldly things. They're not thinking about no ever. They're using property and stuffs.
And the interesting thing is they're using natural principles. They're not aliens. They're not doing magic. They're using math. They're just using math. They're using natural principles, you know.
Wow.
And, you know, for those of us who dare to read a little bit and just really spend some time and just think a little bit, you'll see like, oh, the patterns are there. Wow. Oh, okay, boom. And then you'll just act accordingly and your life will change.
That's true. That's so true. Wow. Man, that's I didn't even expect us to go there, but we did. But we did. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. But you know, one thing I also want to talk about, since you're a music guy, I forgot to even say this when you was talking about the music, the beef, bro.
Oh, the beef.
The beef.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. So
you got to talk about this, because I had a little lie. Let me tell you what I thought first, and then I'm gonna let you chime in. Yeah. Because I want to hear you, the guy who's been in music longer than me. I'm out of my wheelhouse. But one thing I understand, that rapping and hip hop is a form of communication, and I do communication in another way, but they're still communicating, but it's on a rhythmic. It has rhythm. It affects people in a different way. And so actually it's more transferable. So we got to be careful what we say on the beat joint, because it gets people hypnotized. You know, you see what I'm saying? So we hear how everybody's talking about something that Black men are chirping about. And I hear trauma. You know what I'm saying? When I listen to two Black men talking about pedophilia, beating women, and all of these things, that really they need to sit on a couch and talk to somebody and peel it back. Real talk.
Right.
I hear them talk about things that really should not be talked about on music, and also to introduce people's children and saying what type of father they are. What are we doing? I mean, but that's my take. I think it's trauma. I think it's grown men need to be grown men. Call each other up, have a sit down, and stop being these buffoonery. This freaking buffoonery that we're doing, that we call music, because it's not. Now go ahead. I'm gonna leave that alone. Back up.
Well, you know, sonically, from a fan of hip hop,
yes,
I think beef is great.
It is,
because hip hop is based on ego.
Yep, and competition,
and nothing will send you to your highest point of competence, right, and achievement, like an ass whipping, right? Nothing, right? A loss.
Nothing will make you move better, eh?
Right. Nothing make you better than that, right? Okay. So from that standpoint, I think it's good for hip hop. When we have this kind of, because you got ears that you normally wouldn't have, right? Which equal dollars for artists, right? Yeah. So that's good. I also think that, especially Kendrick, but also Aubrey,
yes, that's his name, Aubrey.
The elevation of the use of the language, you know, and you know, the double and triple entendres and the intellectual prowess that they show. These are smart men. These are smart men.
They're not dumb men.
They're not dumb men. So to me, that's also showing, that's like score one for the nerds. you know. So from a cultural standpoint, I'm like, oh yeah, score one for the nerds, you know, because you got to go really deep to understand all the slurs and all the what have you,
Exactly.
right?
These bars are different. These
Yeah,
16
these
and
bars
8
are
bars are
different,
different.
right?
Yeah.
So I respect it on that level. I think it's good in that way. However, at the phase of life where I am, I quickly tend to zoom up out of the ground level part of things
Yeah. Out of the shade.
to look at the larger impacts.
Yes.
And I have a healthy dose of skepticism in my mind, you know, because again, we got to go back to the capitalists, because the entertainment industry is completely owned and operated by the capitalists, by the
Yes.
same people that bring you throwaway fashion that's choking the ocean, so supposed
Are
to
the same
be
people who own hip hop.
this same thing that own hip hop, same people that will lock you up
Jails.
and hold you for a year and then drop the charges. You know what I
Investment
mean?
prisons, the
After
same
they,
people.
it's the same people.
Yep.
So I have to zoom out and ask, like, okay, what are you sneaky bastards doing
What's
with
really going on?
yeah. And so what you see is, if you look at the music industry and you look at the a very important part of the music industry or entertainment industry in general is, how is the wealth being transferred back to the people or distributed down to the grassroots in any kind of way? How is the wealth going back into the artistic source pool, like to lift up new artists and to encourage new artists to be able to create their art and show the world as it is from their standpoint. And to an increasing degree over the last few generations of artists, we are seeing that wealth is not going back to lift up anybody that's doing art that we can be proud of. It
And
really,
it's so depreciating.
yeah, absolutely.
What's coming? It's unfortunate, but what we see in hip hop is so depreciating. It's not coming in a very organic way. They're being chosen, manufactured.
Right.
And it's the worst of us, unfortunately.
Correct. Many times, I wouldn't even say it's the worst of us, because if you think about the state of mind and the state of life that a 12, 13-year-old Lil Wayne is in when he meets Baby and gets into that and gets pulled into that world and propelled by 15, he's a millionaire, you know. And if you think about the state of mind that he's in before that,
yes,
I don't see him as having been the worst of us at 14, 13. You know, he was
and
just
now he's 40.
He was a kid. But now at 40, after
On his
being
way for 50.
at being in several decades and being in a space of influence that he's in, I think the very best, like, I actually think he's one of the better ones, because at least he's solid. Like, you know what I mean? At least he's not still out there like saying the wildness, you know, and being
you can see some growth in Wayne.
You can see some growth.
Yeah, you know,
but
even though he's still very youthful.
Right.
In
But
his mid-40s.
if that growth that you're seeing in him was your child and it was out of the context of that level of money, you'd be like, all right, like, I guess, like, you know what I mean?
You know, immature.
Right. You know, so you would expect your own family without the money, without the super expansive things, you would expect him to grow in a and to become a more impactful and productive person in a positive way for your community. And now, who knows, he might give 10 million here, 10 million there to whatever charities and whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know,
I know
talking
that's not
about
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
talking
really,
about,
I don't know if he could even do that, because he said he's never been discriminated against. Such foolishness. I mean, come on.
Let's not talk.
Such foolishness.
You know,
but this is what we're hearing from the folks who actually are spending time in our heads.
Right. Correct.
the things that's going on in the world, because we're not living as international citizens. We're living as people who from this fanatical spot called America, where nothing happens to you, everything is good, everything's butter, everything's popping. But that's not real. And so we see the rest of the world is going through a lot of chaos and a lot of things to keep these Westerners safe and fly and popping. So they're taking from other societies. This is what I'm going to put it down. This is what's going on. And so us others who live amongst them, we're not even looking at that because we're too busy popping and getting ours and being selfish and doing the same thing that our counterparts are doing. Then we got this foolish thought that there's no discrimination, that everything's accessible. Where we get this from, bro?
It was fed to you, right? With that white milk and white bread when you was in elementary school.
It was a sandwich,
Apple Jacks and that little thing with the white milk. Like, rushing to
school
in the morning. Rushing to school in the morning to get that.
To get that milk.
Yeah, it was fed to you.
Yeah, and is it in that syrup? Where you getting
100%. It's in the Caro. That Caro syrup. I mean, we're the fattest subservient class on the planet.
You're right.
And it's easy, and it's very difficult for us to starve. You think about Baltimore, you can be homeless, you can be completely shiftless, you can do absolutely zero work. It's almost impossible for you to starve in this city.
That's big.
Somebody is getting their paycheck if they can give you a meal. I promise you.
Either it's nonprofit or something, you're gonna get fed.
Something. You're gonna get fed.
You're gonna get fed. And that's not happening in the rest of the world. I promise you.
It's not happening in the rest of the world. It's actually, it's a part of our problem. It's a part of our problem. We don't have enough friction. You think about and this goes back to what the Bible would tell you. The Bible would tell you it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And that's very real. And we're experiencing that right now. Because if you're just, in the construction field, I have families who have worked for me, and I have, come to be very good friends with them over the years. And so you'll have the first generation is the pop, the father, and he's busting his tail and he's trying to work 75 hours to get, whatever little thing that he can eke out. And then just one generation later, those kids,
they run through it.
Yeah, those kids, they do not have any desire whatsoever to do a day's worth of work. Like, forget that, and this is this is our immigrant family, this is our from everywhere and anywhere. I've seen them come from Senegal, at Home Depot working. I've seen them come from Guadalajara, like wherever they come from. And that very next generation, that first generation that's born here, has the I call it urban anesthesia. They got that.
Like you said, they drank the milk. They get into this fanatical thought of what America is, and it becomes something that you perform. You become a performer.
Yeah, it's an entitlement.
Yeah, it's entitlement, and it's really killing us. It's killing people, not just us, everybody.
Yeah, and it creates certain blind spots, And so back to the music thing for 1 second. While this beef is going on, the music industry and how artists get paid and what have you is undergoing one of the biggest things.
It's going to be a shift.
That
Spotify and all of this, yes.
So the Kendrick and Aubrey beef, like, kind of overshadows the Taylor Swift Spotify thing. People don't even know what that is. What
and they want it to be overshadowed. You're so right.
Correct.
Yes. So they let this beef go on and on to drown out her trying to fight for them points. And one thing, I don't know much about Taylor Swift, but I know she's a fighter and she's a writer too. When you compose and you go through that process of owning your own stuff, you're not gonna let anybody just just railroad you. And I get it. You know, they can say what they want, but I get that.
Yeah, they knew they were gonna have a problem with her when she went back and remade them songs.
That they would not
She
let
made
her.
that
She's
move.
like, shit, I'm gonna
She was
remake
like,
them.
oh, okay, I got something for y'all. And I was like, wow.
And it's
Oh,
ingenious what she did. She said, I'm gonna
yeah,
remake the same thing that you won't release.
exactly.
I love it. I love her for
Exactly.
that. And I think that shift is important, but I also think Aubrey is an industry baby.
Yeah, from
And
John.
from jump,
Yeah.
they're not going to continue to, I think, allow this be just on that. The amount of money that's behind him, he can't be, you can't keep calling him a colonizer and all that. They're not going to let that continue forever. Now, I mean, I know Kendrick is,
I know he better watch out how he say nigga from now on. Kendrick was like, we don't want to hear you say nigga no more.
nigga, no more. I
It's
was
like,
like, wow. He's
woo,
like, we don't trust you. I mean, he
we
went
don't
in.
trust you. Oof. Yeah. So
And I don't want to, we kind of talk about the beat, but I just think that it's very distracting, and I don't like to see Black men display their trauma when I know they have heavy intellect,
yeah.
But I understand beef is a part of hip hop, but I think this type of beef is really, really personal.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same as when you in Chick-fil-A in a line and some guy is on the phone with his girlfriend and she got him completely off the hook, and she's on speakerphone, but he's yelling at the phone and, saying all of the worst thing he could think to say because she has completely eviscerated his self-esteem,
And she
by
triggered them.
yeah. And people throw up their trauma, and throwing up is not, as I use throw up because it's an autonomic response. You can't control it. Once the trigger's there, you that's coming up, and
But music is different though, Changa. Yes, you can be in Chick-fil-A and you throw it. That's a few people, but technology takes music around the world. And
right.
so Black men now, you're not, and I don't like this thing, you're not Black enough. Because he has a white mother or a Jewish mother, whatever.
Right. Right.
So this thing, and then they calling him white boy. Listen, I don't know about all of that, his demographics and whatever.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? It's all real.
It is real.
Like colorism is real.
Yeah.
And maybe Kendrick is showing his problem with his own skin when he goes real hard on that part, or maybe, there's all kind of things to look into. But what I'm saying is it's going to be a microcosm of what happens in the real world, because these are human beings,
Yes.
and I don't really believe in this idea that they have some kind of higher sense or purpose or responsibility because they have access to millions of people. I just don't believe in that, because you can't turn down your humanity. You're going to be a human being anyway, and the eyes are always looking at you. So what is the difference if I'm a wild hooligan, right, and I write the wild hooligan stuff on the record and send it out? Because nowadays it doesn't have to go through 15 hands and all that stuff.
It can go straight to the people.
It can go straight to the public. Like I suspect quite a bit of this beef stuff did. So if I have a tantrum and I push send, what's the difference than if I'm Jonathan Majors and I have an episode in the thing and it gets caught on camera? It's no difference. I think we really missed the mark when we try to hold people who are also human beings to some higher standard. Why? Because they have more money or because they have more fame. The money that they have wasn't it wasn't earned, right? The system that they're in is the one that created that wealth for them, right? Jordan knows for a fact that it's 100 other players that at the time that he was at the top could beat him one-on-one. He knows that for a fact, right?
But he eating, bro.
Right. But he was inside of a system. He had an opportunity.
You're right.
And so you think that, so it just doesn't make sense to me that the person who had the opportunity some kind of way now needs to be held to a different standard all of a sudden. No, we need to see their humanity because it's going to echo ours. And I think no matter how hard people try to separate themselves. Oh, I'm different. No, you're not. And it's gonna come out. And I don't think that we should let's take Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was not a great dad. He just wasn't.
Or husband.
Or husband.
But a great man.
This is well known, right?
Right.
But does that mean that we take away his accolades of what the other things he did? No, his humanity showed out as it should.
I think was an ingenious take. I am impressed with you on that one because I'm like, shoot, I mean, you know why I say that? Because I think the mic has responsibility. It also is entertaining to me. It also definitely transfers from culture. It connects, but it also, to me, as Black people and how we are depicted out throughout the world, if we're creating our trauma, we're creating spaces that show our trauma and show the things that we don't. And you said our humanity. I think that it further hurts the Black male. To me, and if it's not having impact that all Black men can come up from, then why do it? But of course, these are young men. This is different, and they're doing their thing.
I think that these guys having their temper tantrums on wax shows guys who have temper tantrums and they're ashamed of them that, okay, like, yeah, this is real. This is normal.
Everybody does it.
If everybody does it, you can be okay now. Because men live a secret life of shame.
Really?
Men live a secret life of shame when we have natural things that are very natural, but our falsified, falsified society thing, it makes you ashamed of what's natural. It makes you want to hide, and then you wind up with serial killers, and you wind up with, people who, I mean, as a woman,
aggression turns into something else. You're saying
it can transform into many different things. When you're trying to hide who you really are, when you're being ashamed of something that, that's natural, now you got to go to. It's more therapists in the world now than it ever was. You know what I mean? And their main job is to tell you, that's natural. It's the main job of therapists to tell you the crazy feeling you feel. No, that's natural. You live in a system that's kind of crazy making, so you should feel crazy. It's okay. Like, that's their main job, And
we got a therapist. I want that's listening. Wow, that is something. But your take on that just totally obliterated. What?
Yeah, I just think it's. I just think it's
on me. I don't like to be flipped, bro. You gotta talk about that offline. You're not gonna be flipping me, no sir. I wanted to go in, and you like, we're not. It's still humanity. I want to hear.
Listen, it's relevant because you do want, your side is relevant. You do want to protect the masses from unnecessary fuckery. Like, you know what I mean?
That's really what it is.
You absolutely do. And one thing you said, the man with the mic has a responsibility. You don't want to go yelling fire inside of a, you know what I'm saying? Like,
on gasoline, what's going to happen.
You don't want to do that. Or the whole Trump piece, how he moved, but you're going to have that person who does that is going to have ramifications, right? And a lesson is going to be learned. So for people who come behind them, you get on the mic in a church and you start cussing. Okay, yeah, the children heard cussing, so that does whatever damage curse words do to children. I don't get that part, but okay, let's just say it's totally inappropriate. Let's say it's offensive to the Lord, right? Okay, and it makes some kind of way makes the room a little less holy, right?
Right.
Well, then pretty immediately that person is going to get a unceremonious exit out of the room. You hope, right? Or off of that rostrum, or they'll never be back up on there, right? And so the child also gets to see that. So I'm just saying that I'm just an advocate for what's actually real and what's actually people allowing themselves to be real. That's all, you know.
Well, Dr. Doss said, I don't hold them higher than others. I hold them, including myself and our community, to a standard.
That's
However,
right.
I understand the condition. And I get that, you know, but I don't hold them higher neither, but I just think that, you know, it's some things don't have to, everybody don't, you know, everybody don't have to know everything.
No, that's 100% true. I'm a married man. Trust me.
Everything
Everybody
ain't for
don't
everybody.
have to know everything. Trust me. I'm
Yeah,
all about it.
I don't think everything is for everybody, and I think that sometimes if you're having these issues, a conversation will help you. Let's talk about this, bro.
For sure. But again, you know, we talked about something in the beginning of the thing where it's like, if you have community. Because you notice another theme in the raps, these guys raps, is you can't trust nobody. For whatever reason, they can't trust nobody.
Yeah, and everybody work for them. How about
right.
that?
I'm like, that's a miserable condition, bro, man. You can't trust nobody. Yeah. Okay.
With all of that, all those resources, you got to be looking everywhere. It has to be very uncomfortable.
It got to be.
You know,
how do you live like that? How you live like that?
I mean, I guess that is the what you get for what you got.
Right. It's the price.
It's the price.
Yes, the price of it.
Yeah, the price of it.
I agree. I use the you know, when I'm talking to young folks, one of the things I do is I give these talks and these workshops for young folks, and I always ask them, you know, could you protect yourself against $5,000? And what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, if I said if I go in your neighborhood and I say, I got 5,000 in this bag for anybody who brings me that guy's head, could you protect yourself? The answer is no. I promise you can't. The average person can't.
They're coming for you.
5 bands cash?
You out of here. You out of here, unfortunately. That's how we live.
What are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
So think about what these guys who are worth $100 million. Think about what they have to, the stress they have to be under.
And that's why I think we see these very errant behaviors. It comes from being in a very stressful place. So, you know, sometimes we want to be something. We want to be stars. We want to be rappers. We want to be in that world. But do you want to go through what they go through?
Right.
That's what I want to know. But you don't know till you get there. I don't want to get there. I'm good. let me stay over here with my fire and my window up.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because really, this is real. That right there, somebody built that around you is not real. That's the power you really think you have, you don't have.
That's right.
And so I don't want to know what's not real and what's real. I can identify that that's fire and the window's open. I can identify that.
I mean, the concept is to lift and separate, to take a phrase away from Playtex or whatever. Lift and separate. That's
the tampon.
No, the bras.
Oh, the bra. Oh, you kidding? You know they both play. Oh, you talk about the bra. You talk about the girls. Lift
and separate. It's like if I can lift you, I can separate you. You know.
I love the analogy because let me tell you something. Every woman loves lift and separate. We live for lift. We live for separation. It is a real thing out here.
That's right. That's right. Wow. I get it.
I never got. That's the realest analogy I ever heard. You are on point. You the man with that one. Okay. Wow. So last thing, because we're in here for we're in an hour, and you know some people miss.
That was quick.
It was quick. That's why, because it's all love right here. It's all love. So what I want to talk about is, you know, we had a primary yesterday. So Baltimore has walked into a new phase. Or the same phase.
Oh, I'm about to say
nothing's changed. Real talk, nothing's changed.
It's gonna be business as usual. I promise you.
Business okay.
Either way it had gone. It was gonna be business as usual. It's Baltimore politics. It's not. Baltimore politics is what it is. The people who are powerful and who make the decisions are not any names that you know. At least not for politics. You know, the way our system works, it's a fashion show at best. You know,
you just put the latest fashion up front, right?
Correct. So when you have legislators at the state are beholden to the groups that make the donations. This is not. This just is what it is. It's not. There are 4 or 5 power groups inside of Baltimore City that pretty much work together to cut their zones out. And not one of them is in favor of the average citizen, because there's no money to be made. If the average citizen has low taxes and clean streets and decent schools, that doesn't make any money. It doesn't generate any money, right? Actually, it costs way more money than you would think to make these things happen. Let's just think about this as a thought experience. Let's take schools, right?
Right.
Our current CEO is not a superintendent. She's not qualified to be a superintendent at all. But let's say a miracle happened and they were able to increase the graduation rate of the high schools.
You said a miracle? That
right.
would be a miracle. Go ahead.
Yeah. Of the high schools, from the dismal, whatever it is, 20% or whatever it is right now.
Sure.
To let's just say a modest 60%, right? So if 40% more, let's say a 40% increase in the number of high school college qualified high school graduates happened, right?
Right.
Let's say only half of them went into college in freshman year.
Sure.
That would increase enrollment in Baltimore City by over 100%.
Whoa.
To colleges in Baltimore City.
Yes.
Just a few colleges in Baltimore City.
Yeah, just the Coppin, the Morgan, the Hopkins.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Goucher, all of them. Okay.
That would increase their enrollment by over 100% every year. So that's 4 years in a row. They would, right?
Right.
So that number of students, and then let's say they actually were college ready. So let's say 60% of them actually graduate.
Yes.
Now you're dumping several 100,000 extra bodies into the job pool post-college.
With actual paper.
What does that do to the job market?
They don't want to see that happen. Oh, you took it to a whole new level. That's not going to happen.
This is just basic. This is just basic math.
Oh,
if you think about it, the math is against.
The math is a mathing.
The math is against these systems getting any better because of the system. The system that we're in is it's you're going to get what you get, and at certain levels where decisions are being made and power is being wielded, we are the poorest person in Baltimore City right now is still probably in the top 10%, 15% in terms of income and quality of life with, in terms of the world, top 10, 15% in terms of in the world. There's 8.5 billion people. So I'm not being a pessimist here. I'm just saying that the system that we're in is not shaped.
It's not built for that. You're saying
it's not built for that. So there are tens of thousands.
It's working like it should work.
Yeah, it's working exactly how it's supposed to work. It's very efficient. There are literally tens of thousands of us who are out here kicking, screaming, giving our life, giving our money, giving our time, giving our mental energy into trying to change the system as it is and work inside this system as if eventually it's going to get better. And
you said that today. I'm like, you cannot change evil. You got to break it down and start over.
yeah, but that's a scary thing. And so nobody wants to do that. So
but you rather suffer in it than to create something.
Most people, yes. Most
Wow.
people, yes. 100%.
Yeah. Because it's what you know. It's what you're familiar with. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the average household. The average household has 10,000 items inside of the building.
Don't make me look around. Get it together. Get it
How
together.
many earrings? How many shoes? How many glasses? How many bracelets? You know what I'm saying? How many everything? You know, look at the scarves. Look at this. Why do I have this many scarves in my life? Like, you know, it's not.
Why do we do this? You're right.
It's not even 100 years ago. The average rural person, you know, person that lived in agriculture, they had 2 outfits. That was it. Period.
Okay,
one for inside, one for outside.
Church, we got outfit for outside, we got an outfit for inside. Please. You're right. Well, I'm telling you, you live in this in almost like this barrel of fantasy.
It's a fantasy.
All of this is fantasy, and someone's created, and we bought into it. Like this is regular. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, and so wow, and we all are. I'm a part of it. I'm not pointing at you.
No, we 100%.
You said that 10,000 items. I could look at 1,000 right here. Like, what are you talking about? This is
correct.
But this is where we are, and so this is such a. I told you. You're so practical, and who knew? Jesus, this is the practicality. I love it. I love it because these type of conversations make you think about what you think.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about what you're thinking or what you've been taught to think?
Right.
And does it make sense? When everything is peeled back, having 7 scarves is going to do what for you?
Right.
Having all these bracelets is doing what for me?
Right.
Like, but we have to have it.
Yeah, it's
things.
Yeah, and that's you know, that's if I could show one thing that, you know, in terms of my parenthood, you know, watching the poison take hold of my children to a degree and not be able to certainly not reverse it, you know, but not be able to.
They're going to be exposed to it.
Yeah, and not to have been able to protect them from that. Even though I did, you know, do what everything that I could. I spent a lot of FaceTime hours with my sons, certainly more than generations before me, you know, did in my line, and giving them that amount of energy cost me something.
That male energy, they need it.
Yeah, but it cost me something.
Wow.
You know, and doing a lot of the intentional.
Would you say what that cost would be? What would you say it cost you? What do you mean by it cost you something?
Well, so first of all, it's not only the energy that I put directly into them in terms of FaceTime and giving them experiences and making sure that they, you know, understood certain things, but it's also investing in the people around them, because you got to invest in the people around you, because the people around you,
the ecosystem is important.
The ecosystem is important, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to condition the air, you got to condition the food, you got to condition, you know, so spending that much bandwidth trying to do that work while still trying to earn a living and still trying to chase whatever little dream you have, is like,
it's not enough room in your life, unfortunately.
It's not enough space.
Yeah, you have to give some up. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I mean. You know, it costs. It costs you.
You did some sacrifice. Yeah.
Correct. And then to in the midst of that sacrifice to realize, like, oh shit, I didn't go hard enough. Like I couldn't protect them from this atmosphere that we live in. You know, it's a system. And then you know, we could really go down far on that, but
that's another hole. that we don't have time for.
Right.
Yeah, wow, but you know, it's real when I'm hearing from you, and I'm sure parents see it. Like you know, you've been there. You see what's happening to your children, and where we live, you cannot stop it. They almost have to go through that fire.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Woo!
That's right. And the strain it puts on your relationship, you know, because mom is like, my kids ain't going through no fire. You know,
they're gonna go through that fire. I ain't just saying the fire is coming. And then also the relationship between the man and the woman, like, get it. Listen, women, we think a different way. It's a, and to keep your marriage 25 years, I say power, bro.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's submission. It's not power. It's submission.
You follow directions well, eh, bro?
I follow directions. You know, and I only object, you know, so-called put your foot down, you know, so-called man of the house, you know, all of that. Like, that is a tool. Like, if you got to go to that tool, you done already messed up 5 times.
You're not winning.
You messed up 5 times if you had to go to that tool.
If you go in there, you lost.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're in trouble because that's the strong arm tool. It doesn't.
Right.
It's not good. It doesn't work.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't work, bro. Changa, I mean, listen, you got to come back, bro. We got to do a part 2, part 7. You got a lot in you. We just scratched the surface out here.
I'm old. That's what it is. All this gray, I earned every one of these gray hairs for sure.
For sure. And you say everyone is well earned. I love it. But listen, I love these real conversations, and that's why this space, the KingHim series, is so important, because we need to hear from men. And what you put on the table tonight has been a real conversation with a man really coming from what's going on inside, outside, and everywhere. And we need that. We need to see that. You know, the humanness here, the real talk here. It was really real for me. I'm like looking at you like, wow, is it, but them scarves is a halo. You an angel over there, bro. So I really appreciate what you brought to the table today. One thing I want you to do for me before we get up out of here, though. We need that Changa jewel. Everybody leaves a jewel. Drop some inspiration on us so we can hold that for the whole week. Drop it. We need that jewel.
Well, I'm just gonna go with a classic. Pick your heart. Pick your heart. You know,
your heart.
You want to be healthy. Working out can be hard. Eating a good diet can be hard. But diabetes is hard. Heart disease is hard. You know, you want to be financially set. You know, saving money is hard. Researching investments is hard. Holding people accountable in contracts is hard. But being broke is hard. Having your savings stolen from you is hard. You know, pick your heart.
Pick your heart. That's next level, bro. Love it. Pick your heart. And you got to pick, because something's going to be hard. Nothing's easy.
That's right.
You don't do it, there's something you're going to have to face. You do it, then maybe you have a little say in how you're going to face something that you're still going to face.
There you go. That part.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, I want to say thank you so much. Sure. Thank you for blessing this platform, BlakBoxxRadio. I really appreciate it. Our goal is to definitely accentuate Blackness, put Black people on platforms whereas people can definitely see that we're just real people. Doing trying to get real solutions while we experience real experiences.
Right.
That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. So listen, I really appreciate what you brought to the box tonight. It's so appreciated. We're going, I'm gonna see you in community with your music. I already know that. That's coming really soon. But listen, you got to come back and give us an update on what's going on with you. And thank you for all that practicality. That's some good stuff.
Of course.
We boxed up it out, guys. Listen, like, share, subscribe, hit our YouTube up. Facebook, I stay in jail. We keep, we truth to power. So I just came home. So just come on to YouTube. I just came home. I might be back next week. So let's just go to YouTube and subscribe and like and see this thing in a whole, because Changa bought it tonight. And we really appreciate, brother. We really appreciate it. So good night. We boxed up and out. Let's get them deuces, bro.
BlakBoxx Radio.
BlakBoxx Radio. We boxed up and out. Deuces. Don't go nowhere, Changa. Good night, guys. Good night, BlakBoxxers.